Well, good evening again, everyone. This is Chief Meteorologist Marcus Walter. We're taking a look at the radar within the last 10 to 20 minutes, and we're seeing some moisture starting to push into the Arclimus, but we're noticing the most issues now to our north across much of Arkansas. So as we look toward Arkansas and South Arkansas in particular, we see a lot of pink on the map. The purple that you see is sleet, and the pink that you see is freezing rain, and that's what we're starting to see impact parts of South Arkansas, including for places like El Dorado. We're already getting ground level reports of freezing rain, and we have a reporter that is in El Dorado, and he's already reporting some light glaze occurring in the city. So please be careful this evening. If you have to head out, things will be slippery, and it looks like a lot of this moisture will eventually expand farther to the east and impact Crossett and Longview. So we want you to be mindful that that's on the way for the overnight. Fortunately, it is forecast to stay fairly light. Now, as we take a wider view, we're noticing a lot more winter weather across much of Texas, now stretching up into Oklahoma and Kansas. We are keeping an eye on this moisture that's moving into Arkansas, because some of this moisture across eastern Texas will sweep across South Arkansas. It'll interact with colder air that's building in and will lead to frozen precipitation. But you'll notice we're seeing wintry weather back across West Texas and more moisture moving in from West Texas. And so we're expecting a lot of that to continue to impact us through the weekend. And we're still keeping an eye on moisture that is moving through places like New Mexico and southern Arizona. This is moisture associated with part of the storm that'll eventually move across our region as we head toward late Saturday into Sunday. So we do have at least 2 days to deal with this wintry mix, and then we'll see cold air really take over. As we take a look at the futurecast, it is showing more freezing rain and sleet across parts of Louisiana and South Arkansas as we head toward 4 and 5 a.m. I think if you do have to commute at this time, again, you want to take all the necessary precautions, but I would encourage you to stay at home. And then as we head toward tomorrow morning, we're still expecting a wave of moisture to move in. And with the temperatures anywhere from the mid-20s to low 30s, freezing rain will be likely for us as well. So this is where we could see our first wave of icing for most of the Arclimus. As we head toward the afternoon hours, we may see a lull in the activity. It may quiet down for a bit, but then by 10 p.m. we'll watch as additional moisture begins to move across our region, and it continues to impact us as we head through the overnight. And you'll notice a lot of pink. You'll even see some of the brighter colors. That's rain, because it'll be warmer to our east, but eventually cold air takes over all of the Arclimus. And as we look toward 5 a.m., we're still dealing with a lot of pink on the map, that freezing rain very likely. And then fortunately, it looks like things will clear out, or at least the moisture clears out, moves to the east as we head towards Sunday morning. Now, as we take a look at the ice forecast, we're still holding steady, but numbers have come down just a touch, and that may be a good sign for us. We're looking at closer to a ½ inch of ice across most of the Arclimus. We will continue to monitor this forecast. That definitely means a lower risk for power outages. As we look at the snow chances, still looking at a light dusting for most of North Louisiana and higher amounts across South Arkansas. But it all depends on how quickly that cold air settles in, as we at the same time have moisture still around. So still a couple of questions about the snow, but ice is more likely than anything else. And then brutal cold does move in. I do want to stress this: once that precip stops, as we head into Sunday, the cold air will still be in place and even intensify. Sunday morning, we'll start out with those wind chills in the single digits, especially across South Arkansas. We'll see that once again towards Sunday night. And then Monday morning, we'll see single digits close to 0. If you've ever felt that cold, you know it is brutal, and that is what's on the way. And then as we head throughout the day, we'll still keep wind chills in the low 20s on Monday, but then we're back to very cold air. And we're looking at wind chills that could potentially be a few degrees below 0, even upwards of 10 degrees below 0. So this is the real threat after that wintry weather. This is where we could have potential power issues as well. A lot of people using the grid, and that could put stress on the grid. But I have a feeling that we in Louisiana and even South Arkansas are fairly prepared for this event that's on the way. So as we talk about our concern, our big concern is that freezing rain, and because of that, we have an ice storm warning that'll stay active at least through Sunday 6 p.m. and even afterwards, we'll have an extreme cold warning in place as well. So as we talk about timing, pretty much from 10 p.m. through Tuesday morning, we're talking about cold and wintry weather. The wintry weather will be around this weekend. The cold really takes shape early next week, so it'll make for tough travel and potentially some power issues. And we're going about 36 hours with a wintry mix. It may be a little less, but that's what we're going with, anywhere from 30 to 36 hours, and then 3 to 4 days with temperatures below freezing, and then another potential winter storm on the way as we head toward Friday. We'll talk more about that during the second half of the weekend. We'll spend most of the forecast talking about what we're experiencing this weekend, and so we want you to focus on that first, and then we'll keep an eye on things for Friday. But we are in a pattern where cold air will be nearby, and so that increases our chance to see more winter weather, at least for the next week or so. As we talk about the forecast for tonight, again, we're looking at that wintry mix impacting South Arkansas. Some of it may spill over into North Louisiana, and then we'll see more of it as we head through Saturday. Air temperatures will peak in the low 30s, but most of the day will be in the 20s, and so that'll keep any frozen precipitation around, and it'll likely stick around all the way through Tuesday morning. But by Tuesday afternoon, we'll be in the mid-40s, and we should start to see a lot of melting. And then by Wednesday, after a brief refreeze, we'll be back into the mid-40s. But again, Friday, that's our next system. Still questions about that, but we do seem primed. We do seem ready because of the cold air still being nearby next week, where we'll potentially deal with more snowy weather. And this time it will be more snow than ice. And I think a lot of folks enjoy the idea of snow, especially when you can play in it, you can make snowballs, things like that. So this is what we will stay on top of, and we'll have more updates as we head through the weekend.